Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for patch 8.5 overview. I have gathered 15 things that you really need to know, so let's get into it. Patch 8.5 is not a big one. In fact, it's rather small, and that's why it's not patch 9 yet. However, there are a few things that are quite important and some others that are essential to know. And in case you haven't noticed these things, so I will present them to you. Let's start with the most evident one, which is a new mission. The bucket list is a new mission in Fallout 76 that will reward you with a new system. It's something similar to the photo mode, but this time you get a camera and you can easily and quickly take shots without the interface of anything you really want. Plus, you will get a few add-ons like a lens to zoom in and get a chance to actually macro things. It's a very nice touch to the roleplay community and overall to, make your own experiences and memories in a quicker way, in my opinion. So to start with, you need to find the tourist body in one of the many tourist locations in Appalachia. If you are not sure how to start or do this mission, then feel free to check our guide. Basically, you will have to do a lot of shooting across the mire to finish this mission and get your rewards, of course. And with the bucket list, after you finish, or rather at the very first part of the mission where they ask you to craft a new brand camera from the broken one, you will access this new beautiful system where you can take pictures of basically anything you want from your inventory. You can add the camera to your quick bar, which makes things way more accessible. And once you get the lenses, you can zoom in like a scope and take amazing pictures like macro ones or normal ones, but while staying afar, keeping your distance and still getting that beautiful moment that you really want to take. Your camera doesn't come along here, so after you get a functional camera, you will also access the lenses. It's a 105mm one you get as a reward from finishing the bucket list mission, and you can also craft a camera film, which is basically the ammo for the camera. Each picture consumes one camera film. It makes total sense. It works just like in real life with the old cameras. And you get to keep these pictures in your folder, in your game folder, just like in the photo mode. Now let's move on to something really exciting that came out yesterday. It's a new event and it features the real Sheepsquatch. Yes, that's right. If you don't know that this is up, then now you do. Basically, you will have to herd these 3 Brahims. You will need to lead them towards the nearby farm. Now this event doesn't always start in the same location. I thought it did before, but after doing this 10 times I realized that it doesn't have a fixed spawn. Then you will have the chance to find 2 legendary Sheepsquatches. Again, they are not 100% legendary, but at least there is a high or increased chance to find them as legendaries. It's a pretty nice and fresh event to do. Plus it comes with new rewards such as weapon plans and recipes too. Another change is the new repair items in the atomic shop, which have been very controversial for most people because they kinda go against the goal of the atomic shop, which is basically cosmetics, skins and things that do not affect the game directly. And in this case they do, because you don't really need to farm or gather materials to repair your gear anymore. You can simply purchase or use your atoms to get repair kits and then use them to repair your entire gear, weapons, armor, power armor pieces, anything you want really. And you don't even need to be near a workbench. You can just use it from your inventory anytime, anywhere. And yeah, that's not something that nice or fair in my opinion, but Bethesda has decided to implement this feature and now it is part of the game. So let's see what they do next. Besides the repair kits, we also have now improved repair kits, which are not part of the atomic shop. They drop in certain events, such as when you kill the Scorch Beast Queen, but I haven't been able to test this out yet. I haven't seen any queen in the past few days. Too bad for me, I guess. But it's also something that I don't think it's that necessary in the game. It basically improves the durability of the gear that you apply the kit. It's fine, I guess. It seems to be a rare item as well, so I hope it's not too much of an impact, -1 for the game, but I'm yet to test this out. And with new repair kits and so on, the workbench repair menu is a little bit different now. If you notice, now we have the option to do a workbench repair. So they have been changing this patch after patch after patch. And besides 2 keys to repair a single piece of gear, now we also have a different option, which is called a workbench repair. And you also have the repair kit option, and it's T as default in PC. This is a very great change in my opinion. They have decided to change the friend organization back to what they had 2 patches ago, if I'm not wrong. Now, whoever is online will show up at the top of the list, whereas in the last patch, people would display alphabetically in your friends list, and it was very difficult to understand who was actually online and who was offline. It was a complete mess. I'm not sure why the hell did they do that, or if it was even on purpose. It was probably another bug, but thanks God that they have changed it back to this online versus offline organization. Do you remember in the last patch when you were trying to inspect and repair an item and then all the stats were simply gone? Well, they have been fast with this bug and now things are fixed. And that's really great because now you can fix or repair multiple items and you can still see their stats without having to exit the entire workbench and access things again to be able to see if you need to repair anything else and so on. The same exact bug was also affecting the PIP-BOY, and when you were inspecting items you wouldn't really be able to see their stats, and it was extremely annoying. You could see the first item stats and then boom, everything is gone and you had to reopen your PIP-BOY. That's also fixed now and that's great. In terms of junk, Bethesda has done a few updates, especially with the aluminium oil cans, aluminium trays and empty cans. Now all of them generate aluminium instead of steel as it used to be before. That's a decent change and it actually makes sense because, as the name says, they are made of aluminium, so they should scrap aluminium as well and not steel. I guess they got things right this time. One of the most relevant changes in this patch is also how Bethesda has been adding more detailed descriptions to each daily and mostly weekly challenges. Now we can see exactly what they mean with each challenge, and they have said it's to increase the clarity of what's requested. I totally agree with this change. They should provide as many details as possible so there is no confusion on what they want us to do. And if the new camera seems to be a great addition to the game, posing with your camera will probably not be a great experience. Right now, when you try to pose in photo mode with your camera, you will get auto-teleported to I don't know where. It's very random, and when you pose, your camera goes missing, and then you can go into thin air and then fall off the sky and die. And it's a complete mess. It's hilarious, actually. I was like, what the hell is going on here? This was my first bug experience, by the way. I was near White Springs and I ended up in this lake right there. It's quite a distance, and yeah, I tried it over and over again, and every time I try to pose with the camera, this happens. So it seems to be a new glitch with the camera and the photo mode. It's probably some sort of interference between both, I'm not sure, but hopefully Bethesda will be able to fix this as soon as possible, because it's completely broken. Like, do not try this unless you want to end up dead, which was my case. And with the new event, there's also some new Sheepsquatch weapon plans and mods. One of them is the Shepherd's Crook, which can be electrified as well, and you can use this to unlock a new feature during the event, which is basically to hit the Brahims and make them move forward. It's pretty useful, and I think you cannot do the event if you don't have this, or at least one person has it, because they will just scatter around and someone has to lead them towards the right path, and you need the Shepherd's Crook to actually do this. Anyway, there are many other weapons such as the Sheepsquatch club and staff, and they look really cool with these horns, which you need to gather directly from the real Sheepsquatch. Last but not least, we have new food recipes from the Sheepsquatch event. One of them is mutton chops, which increase your melee damage by 10%, and then you have the mutton meat pie, which increase your melee damage by 15%. Fun fact, they actually stack, and you can now get a total amount of a 25% experience bonus just from these new foods. It's amazing. They're quite easy to make as well. All you need is some Sheepsquatch meat, a fresh one from the event, and then you can stack it with even other foods such as the glowing meat for another 10% extra of melee damage. It's very handy if you use a melee build, which is my case. And as usual, I have one more extra point for you, which is the new bug with emotes during events. I experienced this yesterday for the first time. I'm not sure if it's something new or if it has been in the game for a while now, but I decided to add it here regardless. So basically what happens is that when I do an emote, I am completely stuck. I couldn't move, I could fast travel, but once I do, look what happens. I'm still doing the exact same emote non-stop. I can get out of it. I can, again, fast travel to the event or anywhere I want, but my character is just stuck doing the emote in a loop. It doesn't stop, and the only way I had to solve this was to actually relog. Quite sad in my opinion, but what can you do? That's going to be all for this patch overview video. I know it hasn't been as long as the others, but then again, this patch is a small one. I was quite limited in terms of points to analyze and test. I am Marta Branco, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If so, do not forget to subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. It helps me a ton, and as usual, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!
Wow.